My fiancé returned after vanishing all night and said, "Don't question me, I needed space." I replied, "Good." Later that day, I showed him a screenshot. His Uber trip wasn't to the friend he claimed, but to a hotel under a woman's name I recognized. When he saw the timestamp, his voice completely disappeared. I'm a 34-year-old woman who thought I had my life together. I was engaged to someone I'd been with for 4 years, planning a wedding set for 6 months from now. We met at a mutual friend's gathering, connected over shared interests in hiking and terrible reality TV, and moved in together after dating for a year. He worked in marketing. I'm in tech consulting. We had a nice apartment, a dog we both adored, and what I thought was a solid relationship built on trust and communication. That illusion shattered 3 weeks ago on a Friday night. I got home around 7:30 after a long week. He texted me earlier saying he was going out with his best friend for drinks and dinner, the usual Friday night routine they'd had for years. I was fine with it, actually looking forward to a quiet evening gaming and ordering pizza. I told him to have fun and text me when he was heading home. By 11 p.m., I hadn't heard anything. I sent a casual text. "Hey, you coming home soon? Dog needs his evening walk." No response. Midnight came and went. I walked the dog myself, came back, tried calling, straight to voicemail. I told myself not to panic. Maybe his phone died. Maybe they went to a loud bar and he couldn't hear it. Maybe he was having such a good time he lost track of time. But by 2 a.m., I was genuinely worried. I texted his friend, "Hey, is he still with you? Just want to make sure he's okay." The response came back within minutes. "What? He left here around 10:30. Said he had an early morning tomorrow and was heading home. Isn't he there?" My heart started racing. I called again. Voicemail. I texted, "Where are you? I'm getting really worried. Please just let me know you're safe." Nothing. I barely slept. I kept my phone on full volume next to my pillow, checking it every 15 minutes. I considered calling hospitals, filing a police report, calling his parents, but some part of me hesitated, thinking maybe I was overreacting. At 6:47 a.m., I heard the key in the lock. I was already awake, had been for the past hour, sitting on the couch, staring at my phone. He walked in looking exhausted, his hair messier than usual, face unshaven, still wearing the same outfit from the night before. He didn't make eye contact, just headed straight for the bedroom. "Where the hell have you been?" I stood up, my voice a mix of relief and anger. He stopped but didn't turn around. "Don't question me. I needed space." "Space? You've been gone for 8 hours with no communication. I've been calling and texting. Your friend said you left at 10:30. Where were you?" He finally turned to face me, and his expression was cold in a way I'd never seen before. "I'm an adult. I don't have to report my every movement to you. I'm not asking you to report your movements. I'm asking where you were when you disappeared for 8 hours in the middle of the night." "I was worried something happened to you." "Well, nothing happened. I'm fine. I just needed some time alone to think." "To think about what?" "About us. About whether I want to do this." He gestured vaguely between us. That stopped me cold. "What are you talking about?" "I don't know. I've just been feeling suffocated lately, like everything's moving too fast. The wedding planning, living together, all of it." "You've never mentioned feeling this way before." "Because you never ask. You just assume everything's fine." "I ask you all the time how you're feeling. You always say you're good." He rolled his eyes. "I'm exhausted. I don't want to do this right now. I'm going to take a shower and go to bed." "It's 7 in the morning." "I know what time it is." He went into the bedroom and closed the door. I stood there stunned, trying to process what had just happened. Something was very wrong, but I couldn't put my finger on exactly what. I didn't follow him. Instead, I sat back down on the couch, my mind racing. The story didn't add up. He left his friend at 10:30, supposedly to come home because he had an early morning, but he didn't come home until almost 7 a.m. That's over 8 hours unaccounted for. And now he was being defensive and picking a fight about our relationship out of nowhere. I knew I shouldn't do it. I knew it was a violation of privacy. But something in my gut told me I needed answers. His laptop was on the kitchen counter where he'd left it the night before. I opened it, hands shaking slightly. He didn't have a password on it. We'd always had that level of trust, or so I thought. I opened his email first. Nothing unusual in recent messages. Then I remembered we had a shared account for our rideshare app, linked to both our emails for expense tracking. I logged into the app. There it was in his ride history last night. 10:42 p.m. pickup from the bar district where he'd been with his friend. But the drop-off location made my blood run cold. It wasn't our apartment. It was a hotel, a nice hotel downtown about 20 minutes from our place. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding. I took a screenshot. Then I kept scrolling through his ride history, going back weeks. My stomach turned. There were multiple trips to that same hotel over the past 2 months, always late at night, always on evenings when he'd told me he was out with friends or working late. Then I noticed something else. The hotel reservations were linked to a rewards program. The name on the account wasn't his. It was a woman's name, a name I recognized. His ex-girlfriend from college. The one he'd told me he'd reconnected with professionally about 6 months ago. The one he'd been meeting for networking coffees because they worked in similar fields. The one he'd assured me was just a friend and that I had nothing to worry about. I felt like I was going to be sick. I sat there with that screenshot on my phone trying to decide what to do. Part of me wanted to burst into the bedroom and confront him immediately, but another part of me knew I needed to be smart about this. I needed to stay calm and get the full truth. I heard the shower turn off. A few minutes later, he came out wearing pajamas, his hair damp. "I'm going to sleep for a few hours," he said, barely looking at me. "Can you keep the noise down?" "Sure," I said quietly. "But before you do, I need to show you something." He sighed heavily. "What now?" I held up my phone with the screenshot of the Uber ride. "You told me you needed space last night. You told me you went for a drive to think. But according to this, you took an Uber to a hotel at 10:42 p.m., a hotel that shows up in your ride history multiple times over the past 2 months. A hotel that's registered under your ex-girlfriend's name." His face went completely white. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. He stood there, frozen, staring at my phone screen. And for a solid 10 seconds, he was absolutely silent. "I can explain," he finally whispered. "I'm listening." He sat down on the chair across from me, his hands shaking. "It's not what it looks like." "Then what is it?" "Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you've been meeting your ex-girlfriend at a hotel multiple times over the past few months, and last night you spent the night there." "We've been talking," he said. "She reached out when she moved back here 6 months ago. We started meeting for coffee, catching up on old times. It was innocent at first." He looked down at his hands. Things got complicated. "We started talking more, meeting more often, and then one night, about 2 months ago, after we'd been drinking, we kissed. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut." "You kissed her just once?" "And I felt terrible about it. I told her it couldn't happen again." "But it did happen again. Multiple times, apparently, based on your ride history." He was crying now. "I'm so sorry. I don't know how it got this far. She told me she still had feelings for me, that she never stopped loving me, that breaking up was the biggest mistake of her life. And I was confused, because I thought I was over her, but then seeing her again brought up all these old feelings." "So you've been cheating on me for 2 months." "It wasn't like that." "What would you call it then? You've been secretly meeting your ex-girlfriend at hotels while lying to me about where you were. What else would you call that?" "I don't know. I was confused. I didn't plan for any of this to happen." "How many times?" I asked, my voice eerily calm. "What?" "How many times did you sleep with her?" He looked away, tears streaming down his face. "I don't know. Maybe 4 or 5 times. And last night we had a long talk. She wants me to leave you. She wants us to get back together." I told her I couldn't, that I love you, that I'm engaged to you. We argued about it for hours. I finally left around 5 in the morning and just drove around because I didn't know what to say to you. "So let me get this straight," I said. "You've been having an affair with your ex for 2 months. You've been lying to me constantly. You disappeared last night because you were at her hotel where she asked you to leave me, and you're only telling me this now because I caught you with evidence." "I was going to tell you." "When? Before or after the wedding?" "I don't know. I was so confused and scared, and I didn't know how to handle it." I stood up. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to pack a bag right now and leave. I don't care where you go. Stay with a friend. Stay with your parents. Stay with her for all I care. But you're not staying here. This is my apartment too. The lease is in my name. You moved in with me, and right now I'm telling you to leave. You can't just kick me out. Watch me. Pack your things. You have 20 minutes. Something in my tone must have convinced him I was serious because he didn't argue further. He went into the bedroom, and I heard him pulling out luggage, opening drawers, moving around frantically. I sat back down on the couch, feeling numb. The dog came over and put his head on my lap, sensing something was wrong. I scratched behind his ears, trying to process everything that had just exploded in my face. 18 minutes later, he emerged with 2 suitcases and his work bag. "I need to come back for more of my things," he said quietly. "Text me when you're coming. I'll make sure I'm not here. Can we please talk about this when we've both calmed down?" "There's nothing to talk about. You made your choice. You made it multiple times over the past 2 months. Every time you lied to me, every time you went to see her, every time you got in that Uber to her hotel, those were all choices." "I made a mistake." "No, a mistake is something you do once without thinking. This was a pattern. This was intentional. You had plenty of opportunities to come clean, to end it, to be honest with me. You chose not to." "I love you. If you loved me, you wouldn't have done this. Now please leave." He stood there for a moment, tears streaming down his face, then finally walked out the door. I heard him struggling with his suitcases in the hallway, heard the elevator ding, and then silence. I sat there for a long time, just staring at nothing. Then I got up, went to the bedroom, and saw his engagement ring sitting on the dresser. He'd taken it off at some point. The next few days were a blur. I called in sick to work. I barely ate. I slept on the couch because I couldn't bring myself to sleep in our bed. The dog stayed close to me, probably confused about where he'd gone. I told my parents and my best friend what happened. My mom cried on the phone. My dad offered to drive up and have a conversation with him, which I declined. My best friend came over with wine and takeout and just sat with me while I vented. He tried texting me multiple times, apologizing, begging to talk, saying he'd ended things with her, claiming he wanted to work it out. I ignored all of them. On the 4th day, I started making practical decisions. I called our wedding venue and explained the situation. They were sympathetic but firm about their cancellation policy. I'd lose the deposit, but at least I wouldn't be liable for the full amount. I started the process of canceling with all our other vendors, the caterer, the photographer, the florist. Some were understanding, some less so. I figured I'd lose about $12,000 total between deposits and cancellation fees. I sent out an email to everyone on our wedding guest list. "The wedding has been canceled. I apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. Please don't ask for details, as I'd prefer to keep this private." My phone blew up with concerned calls and messages. I responded to close family and friends with a brief explanation. He was unfaithful. I ended the engagement. For everyone else, I just didn't respond. A week after he left, he showed up at the apartment unannounced. I only opened the door because he wouldn't stop knocking. "We need to talk," he said. "No, we don't." He what? "Please, I need you to understand." "I understand perfectly. You had an affair. You lied repeatedly. You only came clean because I caught you with evidence. There's nothing left to understand." I ended it with her completely. I told her I never want to see her again. "Good for you. That doesn't change what you did. Can't we try couples therapy? Can't we try to work through this?" "Work through what? Your betrayal? Your lies? The fact that you spent 2 months sneaking around behind my back while we were planning our wedding?" People make mistakes. People work through infidelity all the time. Some people do. I'm not one of them. I have too much self-respect to stay with someone who treated me like that. So that's it. 4 years together, and you're just throwing it all away. I'm not throwing anything away. You already threw it away when you decided to cheat. I'm just accepting reality. "I came here to get the rest of my stuff," he said, changing tactics. "Can I come in?" "I already packed it all. It's in the storage room downstairs. I'll text you the code. You can pick it up whenever." "You packed my things?" "I figured it would be easier than having you back in the apartment." He looked hurt, then angry. "You're really going to be this cold about it?" "I'm not being cold. I'm being practical." "You made your choice. Now you get to live with the consequences." "What about the dog? What about him?" "He's my dog, too. The adoption papers are in my name. I've been paying for all his food and vet bills. He's staying with me. That's not fair." "You want to talk about fair? Was it fair when you were lying to my face for 2 months? Was it fair when you were planning our wedding while sleeping with your ex? Don't talk to me about fair." He started crying. "I know I messed up. I know I hurt you, but I'm asking you to please give me another chance. I'll do anything. I don't want you to do anything. I want you to leave me alone. I love you. If you loved me, you never would have done this. Now please leave." He stood there for another moment, then finally turned and walked away. I closed the door, locked it, and leaned against it, feeling exhausted. 2 weeks later, I ran into his ex-girlfriend completely by accident at a coffee shop near my office. We recognized each other immediately. She approached my table. Can we talk? I don't think that's a good idea. Please, just 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I gestured to the empty chair across from me. I wanted to apologize, she started. I know that doesn't mean much, but I'm sorry for my part in this. Your part in ruining my relationship? She winced. I told him he needed to tell you multiple times. I said I wasn't comfortable with him lying to you. But you were comfortable sleeping with him while he was engaged to me. He told me you two were having problems, that the engagement was a mistake, that he was planning to end it. And you believed him? I wanted to believe him. He was the one who got away. We dated for 3 years in college. I thought he was the one. When we broke up, it messed me up for years. When he reached out, it felt like a second chance. So you didn't question why he was still living with me, still wearing my ring, still planning a wedding? I did question it. He always had an answer. Said he was trying to find the right time to tell you. Said he didn't want to hurt you. Said he needed to figure out logistics first. And the night he stayed at your hotel, what happened there? She looked uncomfortable. I told him I was tired of being his secret, that if he really wanted to be with me, he needed to leave you. He said he couldn't. We argued. He kept saying he was confused, that he loved both of us, that he didn't know what to do. Eventually, he left around 5 in the morning. Did he tell you I found out? Yeah. He texted me the next day saying you'd discovered everything and ended it. He said he told me it was over between us, that he was going to try to fix things with you. Is it over between you two? Yes. I told him I didn't want to be with someone who could lie so easily to someone they supposedly loved. If he could do that to you, he'd do it to me too. Smart woman. We sat in silence for a moment. For what it's worth, she said, I don't think he's a bad person. I think he got caught up in something and didn't know how to get out of it. That doesn't make it okay. No, it doesn't. But I thought you should know he wasn't doing this maliciously. He was genuinely torn. Being torn doesn't justify lying and cheating. You're right. She stood up to leave. I really am sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I wanted you to hear it from me. I nodded. She left. I sat there with my coffee, feeling oddly relieved to have heard her side of things. Not because it changed anything, but because it confirmed what I already knew. He made a series of conscious choices to betray me, and now he had to live with losing both of us. A month after everything fell apart, he sent me a long email. I almost didn't read it, but curiosity got the better of me. It was full of apologies, explanations, and justifications. He said he'd been feeling insecure about our relationship, that I'd been working too much and not paying enough attention to him, that when his ex came back into his life, she made him feel special and desired in a way he hadn't felt in a long time. He said the affair started emotionally before it became physical, and by the time he realized how deep he was in, he didn't know how to get out without destroying everything. He claimed he never stopped loving me, that he was just confused and made terrible decisions. He begged for another chance, said he'd go to therapy, said he'd do whatever it took to rebuild trust. I didn't respond. There was no point. Everything he wrote was about his feelings, his confusion, his needs. Not once did he take full responsibility for his actions. Not once did he acknowledge that his choices had consequences. I deleted the email and blocked his address. 3 months after the breakup, I'm doing okay. Not great, but okay. I went through the classic post-breakup routine, threw myself into work, started working out more, reconnected with friends I'd neglected, picked up hobbies I'd abandoned. The apartment still feels empty sometimes, but I've started redecorating, making it feel more like mine and less like ours. I got rid of furniture we'd bought together, replaced pictures of us with art I actually like, rearranged everything to create a new space. I've started casually dating again. Nothing serious. Coffee dates, dinner here and there, testing the waters to see if I can trust someone again. It's hard. I find myself looking for signs of deception in everything. A vague answer about their evening plans. A phone screen angled away from me. Any little thing can trigger my anxiety. My therapist says that's normal and will fade with time. I'm working on it. I haven't seen or heard from him in 2 months. Mutual friends tell me he moved to a different neighborhood, started a new job, is in therapy. Good for him. I genuinely hope he learns from this and doesn't do it to someone else. As for me, I'm learning to be okay on my own, learning that I don't need someone else to be complete, learning to trust my instincts again after ignoring so many red flags. Looking back, there were signs I missed or chose to ignore. The way he'd become more protective of his phone, the increase in late nights at work and nights out, the way he'd pick small fights about nothing, maybe to justify what he was doing in his own mind. The emotional distance I'd attributed to wedding stress. But I also know I'm not responsible for his choices. I didn't make him cheat. He did that all on his own. The hardest part has been letting go of the future we'd planned together, the wedding that never happened, the house we were going to buy, the kids we'd talked about having, the whole life we were supposed to build together. All of that disappeared in one morning when he walked through the door and I saw the truth in his eyes before he even spoke. But in a weird way, I'm grateful I found out before the wedding. Grateful I found out before we bought a house together, or had kids, or got even more entangled. Grateful that I discovered who he really was before legally tying myself to him. The engagement ring is in a drawer somewhere. I haven't decided what to do with it yet. Sell it, return it, throw it in a river. Maybe I'll decide eventually. For now, it's just a reminder that sometimes the person you think you know best is the person you don't know at all. I'm not ready to forgive him. Maybe I never will be. But I'm working on forgiving myself for not seeing it sooner, for trusting him when my gut was telling me something was off, for believing his lies because I wanted them to be true. The dog is doing well, by the way. He was confused for the first few weeks looking for him, but he's adjusted. We take longer walks now. It gives me time to think, to process, to figure out who I am without him. My parents check in regularly. My friends have been incredible, letting me vent and rage and grieve without judgment. Work has been a good distraction. Life goes on, whether you're ready for it or not. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I'll ever be able to fully trust someone again the way I trusted him, but I'm trying. That's all I can do. And I know this. I'd rather be alone than be with someone who treats me like he did. I'd rather have no relationship than have one built on lies. I'd rather start over at 34 than spend the rest of my life wondering if my partner is being honest with me. So here I am. Courtney, single, slightly damaged, but still standing, still moving forward, still believing that somewhere out there is someone who will value honesty and loyalty the way I do, just not him.